Hi, Gary Claiborne here. You know, back in April, the pop star Prince died, and within a very short period of time, people were asking about why this gentleman never had a will. You know, with this $250 million estate, what was going on here? You know, my response to it was, well, you know, that wasn't where his focus was. It was not on his life's radar screen. And this was a gentleman who was famous in many, many different ways. But to build that $250 million estate up, he really didn't focus at all on these financial and what you think very prudent issues of having a will to make sure, you know, who it goes to. And, you know, supposedly died intestate, meaning the state of Minnesota is going to decide where that money goes. We'll find out later. But it brings up the question of wealth, and his necessary definition of wealth might have been a lot differently than maybe yours or mine. And wealth can be defined in so many different ways, and I believe really it comes down to, you know, many elements of it. You know, there's obviously the money, the personal goods and services that we buy and purchase, and those kinds of things. But it's also families, it's attitudes, it's behaviors, it's purpose, it's meaning, and there's just a litany of things that go into how we each individually define our wealth and what it means to each one of us. You know, I went to this funeral not too long ago, and there were 1,000 people plus at this funeral for this gentleman. And, you know, you just heard everybody talk about what a genuine man and sincere and a giver and helper in a community, and on and on and on, just multiple accolades. And just by the presence of the people there from different social, economic, religious, and other groups represented, very famous people, you knew that this gentleman had really touched a lot of lives. The interesting part was he had a very, very meager estate. But I think if you asked people if he was a wealthy person or wealthy individual, they would say yes, he was. And so, you know, this definition of wealth doesn't come down to money or personal possessions. You know, sometimes we look at, you know, what does it take us to live? You know, we need some basic stuff to live. What is that? You know, we need shelter, we need food, things for communication and hygiene, and all sorts of other basic needs to live in today's world. And that can run across the gamut, anywhere from, say, $400,000 a year to $30,000 to $40,000 a year. And an interesting part about that is you can walk across different people's lives and see them fulfilling all these same things at a much different level of money. And it's somewhat defined by how they want to live, and defined by what means they have available to them as well. But it really gets deconstructed down into how they want to live on this earth, and whatever that happens to be. Now, if we take that a little further and we try to define this in a much different manner, we can really see that as an example of what a want would be. So let's take a $300 amount for a special occasion on a weekend. Now, let's say you decide you want to go to your favorite sporting event here in Chicago, one of with the professional teams. You have this great experience, spend $300 for 2 tickets, and watch your team win, and drive down to the location and have all that traffic and come back and everything else. But it's nirvana. Someone else may say, gee, I'd like to go out to a really fine dining restaurant, have a 7-course meal, same thing, 3 or 4 hours long, really love the meal, and pay the same $300. Now, some of us would just say, let's just order some pizzas and watch the game on the television. And others would look at that $300 for the food, what a waste of money. You know, some food thing at some restaurant with snobby waiters and all sorts of things. And others may say, gee, going to the sports game, what a hassle getting there, and all the people and the crowds and everything else. But we all define those wants and those experiences based on how we feel we want to spend our time. And so that $300 is spent in a different manner in the way we want to do this. We find this a lot with people who collect different kinds of things out there. You may not even give one dime to a particular kind of collection, and people have millions of dollars invested in all sorts of different collections. And so people do a lot of different things, and, you know, money's kind of the grease that keeps everything rolling along out there in that. So I take it back and finish up with Prince. You know, he had this song called Purple Rain, and a very famous song for him. And that, what does that mean? Well, Purple Rain for many is defined by a deep longing and desire that may or may not be met. And you always wonder about him and his life being cut short, if that ever happened with him. But for many people, part of our wealth is that longing and desire to build that, grow that, be with it, work with it, experience it, as we move through life individually, with our families, with friends, and whoever that happens to be. And it's just our own desire, our own purpose, our own definition, our own benefit, but it is our wealth. Till next time, enjoy.